Hi, my name is Kaushi. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 pieces of artwork. My first piece of artwork is about visual arts. In here, I would like to talk about some interesting facts of the famous artwork Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. This work is done by Vincent van Gogh from his room in St. Remy Mental Sanatorium in 1889, where he was recovering from mental illness. Van Gogh suffered for a long time from mental issues, but he continues painting even in the sanatorium. It is known as Starry Night is inspired by the view from his window. In this painting, it shows the lines of the rolling hills from the distance, but none shows the bars of the window of his room. People who analyze the Starry Night say that this picture symbolizes Van Gogh's eventual suicide. By drawing a cypress tree to the sky, he has made directions to death and heaven. Thinking about the influences for the drawing, it is found that, like many other artists of that generation, he was influenced by Japanese art. Vincent brings the tree much closer to the sky to remind us of the tide cropping we see in Japanese art. We know for a fact that Vincent was an admirer of Hokusai's The Great Wave, and here we can make comparisons not only between the composition but also between the rich blue tones of Hokusai seas and the turbulent skies of Starry Night. In 2015, the book of Cosmographics by Michael Benson says the inspiration behind the swirls of the sky at Starry Night comes from the 1845 astronomer William Parsons of the Whirlpool Galaxy. Astronomy is an important topic in this painting. Researchers confirm that the dominant star he has painted is not actually a star. It's the planet Venus. Pathologist Paul Wolf in 2001 have mentioned about Van Gogh's interest in using yellow in painting Starry Night. They believe it is because of the treatment from his epilepsy, which can make colors like yellow more intense. Talking about the techniques he used in the Starry Night painting, the sky is painted with Vincent's signature short brush strokes of thick impasto. We can see how he applies the impasto technique, painting so thickly, sometimes straight from the tube, spreading paint like butter with palette knife. Starry Night gives a message to future artwork about exaggerating certain elements like color and perspective to depict the emotions and feelings we have about a subject. Even though Van Gogh once wrote a letter to his brother saying that Starry Night is a failure, it had become Van Gogh's one of the most famous paintings. The fame of this painting has not died for years. It is currently a permanent exhibit at the Museum of Modern Art in New York, where its enchanting beauty is admired by millions of people. The second piece of art is about dance. Here we focus on a dancing style comes from India called Bharatanatyam. The dance's origins are recorded in Tamil literary text of the 6th century BC. The name was invented in the 20th century by the great dancer Rukmini Devi. Bharatanatyam is a performing medium through which one can express a philosophy of life which aims to fulfill the needs of one's spirituality. The main subjects of the narration were stories from Mahabharata and Ramayana. Bharatanatyam dance is a tradition steeped in Indian history and culture. The practice of the Bharatanatyam style got its start in South Indian temples, where Devidasis performed this dance along with spoken services. Devidasis are the dancers who dedicated to serving the Lord as servants. Many temples in India are adorned with sculptures of Lord Shiva in Bharatanatyam poses. The Nataraja temple dedicated to Lord Shiva is adorned by sculptures of 108 Bharatanatyam poses that are carved into small rectangular panels. Bharatanatyam is a technique of story performing. It is unique and it provides an experience between the literary and the visual. It gives an observer the required freedom to imagine within a stipulated set of guidelines or frameworks. To read, one must know the language of scripts. Similarly, for decoding the dance, one must grasp the language of dance, which comprises three aspects. The first aspect is Reta. It discusses about the speed, pattern, form, range and rhythm of the Bharatanatyam dance. The second aspect is Nritya. Nritya focuses about the spiritual themes, feelings and expressive gestures of the Bharatanatyam dance. The third aspect is Natya. Natya aspect talks about the body movements for specific characters which are communicated through interpretative dances. The Bharatanatyam dress worn by Bharatanatyam dancers is traditionally adorned with robes consisting of elaborate tailor-made saris. The front of the sari is embellished with specially pleated fabric that will open in a fan-like pattern. The artist will also typically wear leather straps called gungru around her ankles so the audience may hear as well as see her foot movements. The dancer emphasizes her facial expressions and head movements with jewelry, including pieces on her hand, nose, ear, and neck. Heavy makeup covers the face of a dancer to ensure the audience is in full view of her expression, and her hair is traditionally done in a neat plait decorated with jewelry or flowers. Lastly, the fingers and toes are brightened with red henna to emphasize the gestures of her hands. Today, Bharatanatyam is a dance style that encompasses religious and non-religious themes, as well as fusion styles. Characterized by precious movements, sharp edges, and expressive body language, this tradition has delighted audiences for generations. My third piece of artwork is about music. Here I choose to talk about the Ninth Symphony of Beethoven. Like few other composers, Beethoven expresses the will for freedom, the democratic longing of the people. His music is the continuation of the French Revolution through the means of art. His Ninth Symphony is a hymn to the humanist utopia of the equality of all humankind. It was on May 7, 1824 that Beethoven's Ninth Symphony was first performed. The symphony was remarkable for several reasons. It was longer and more complex than any other symphony to date and required a larger orchestra. But the most unique feature of the ninth was that Beethoven included chorus and vocal soloist in the final movement. He was the first major composer to do this in a symphony. Between 1905 and 1933, the ninth was frequently performed in Germany to a larger number of workers' audiences with the participation of workers' choirs, including a peace and freedom celebration on New Year's Eve 1918. The Ninth Symphony symbolizes powerfully the struggles through night into light of progress against the reaction to which Beethoven dedicated his whole life and work. It is often expressed in a struggle between a dark minor key and a brilliant affirmative major key. The finale of the ninth anticipates and celebrates the victory of this ideal, a future society in which freedom, equality, universal fellowship is fulfilled, in which joy can reign. The awakening of the joy melody in the woodwinds is sounded in D major as from a distance. Beethoven knows it is the found, the joy. The brass recitative rejoices and picks up the melody to complete it. The ninth is unquestionably the greatest of all symphonies, not only because it is the final resume of all Beethoven's achievements, but also because it voices the message of one who had risen beyond himself, beyond the world and the time in which he lived. The ninth is Beethoven, the psychic and spiritual significance of his life. That's all about my 3 pieces of artwork. Thank you for watching.